Pressure mounts at the White House as US President Joe Biden is investigated for storing classified documents.
American singer Lisa Marie Presley, the only child of rock and roll legend Elvis Presley, has died at the age of 54. Her mother Priscilla confirmed in a statement on Thursday evening. Presley was rushed to hospital in Los Angeles earlier in the day after suffering a cardiac arrest. Just 9 years old when her famous father died in 1977, she followed in his footsteps as a singer and actor. She was married 4 times, including to singer Michael Jackson and to actor Nicolas Cage. She's survived by her mother and 3 daughters, the eldest of which is the actress Riley Keough. Her son Benjamin Keough died by suicide in 2020.
In eastern Ukraine, fierce fighting continues as Russia struggles to take the cities of Soledar and Bakhmut. Germany is backing Poland in its military support for Ukraine by announcing that it will supply armoured fighting vehicles.
European Parliament Vice President Roberta Metsola tells Euronews that all MEPs must be accountable following the Qatargate corruption scandal.
US President Joe Biden has played down the significance of the second batch of classified documents found in the garage of his house in Delaware.
Classified material next to your Corvette? What were you thinking?
I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street. But at any rate,
Republicans, who now control Congress, have assured they will investigate the matter thoroughly.
You look at President Biden. He wasn't president. He was vice president. He held these in different locations right out in the open. He criticized President Trump. Did he utilize the Justice Department to raid President Trump? Did you think that was right? They knew this has happened to President Biden before the election, but they kept it a secret from the American public?
The Justice Department has appointed a special prosecutor to investigate the incident. In the meantime, it's a case of damage limitation for Biden's lawyers and the White House.
We are confident that a thorough review will show that these documents were inadvertently misplaced, and the president and his lawyers acted promptly upon discovering of this mistake.
The White House says it's been fully cooperating with the Department of Justice since the discoveries.
Ukrainian soldier Vladimir Kurbut died in Soledar and was laid to rest in Bucha. His life and death linked to 2 of the bloodiest scenes since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began. He was 46 years old and served 25 years as a policeman before voluntarily enlisting when the war began. Weeks later, the streets of Bucha were littered with civilian corpses. In nearby Soledar, a handful of Vladimir's comrades hold out as best they can against an onslaught by the Russian army and Wagner mercenaries. Moscow says the city has fallen. Ukraine denies the claim. Satellite images show the destruction compared to those of the same place that were taken months ago. The Ukrainian president promises to do everything possible to prevent Soledar and the neighbouring Bakhmut from falling into the hands of an enemy that seems ready to take the cities at any price. While both armies continue to take casualties, civilians continue to suffer the consequences of the war. Streets are almost empty, but underground there are many families, mostly elderly people, who refuse to leave their homes. Germany is to send around 40 Marder infantry fighting vehicles to Ukraine before the end of March. The move represents a major step up in Berlin's military support for Kyiv, although it still falls short of the frontline battle tanks that Ukraine has been asking for. However, Poland says it will provide such tanks in the form of the Leopard 2, which is still made in Germany. We're now adapting to this changed situation by delivering Marder tanks, and I believe that this is the right approach, not to rule anything out, but always to weigh up what I want to achieve, what are the challenges, and always to keep an eye on coordination with international partners, with our allies.
immer mit im Blick zu haben.
Poland's President Andrzej Duda confirmed Warsaw's planned delivery of tanks after a meeting with Ukraine's president in Lviv. He said the move would be part of an international coalition. Germany has made clear its support for Ukraine, both on a humanitarian and military basis, although any transfer of armaments from German production to third parties must be approved by Berlin.
The European Parliament has come up with a new set of anti-corruption and transparency measures following the alleged cash for favour scandal. According to the President of the Parliament, Roberta Metsola, who spoke to Euronews, the aim is to make everyone accountable in the institution.
At the end of the day, trust that takes 20 years to build is destroyed within minutes. So now we are embarking on a quicker, speedy set of measures, some of which need to be reinforced, some of which could have been better reinforced, and some of which need to be introduced. In essence, reintroduce the concept of accountability, integrity and independence. We can be proud of our work, but we can do better.
Do you think this network had the chance to influence actual decisions here?
We're looking into everything. We're looking into trips that have been approved. We're looking into trips that were not declared. We're looking at the process of putting forward amendments, timelines, the way resolutions are negotiated. What I want to make sure is that spheres of influence, at least the alarm bells, should start to ring earlier. That's why we need to regulate access better. We need to regulate the transparency register better. But we also need to be aware ourselves, and this I will tell all the members to be aware, and the staff members. If they see something that is not right, something has to be said and something has to be done.
And will there be also legal protection for whistleblowers in this House?
We can always improve on whistleblower protection. I say this not just as a politician, but also as a lawyer in order to protect this House, but its members, that once they see wrongdoing, they can safely report it and be protected throughout the whole process. I need to be the guarantor of that, and I will make sure of it.
Do you think that new names will pop up in the scandal from the European Parliament, be it assistants or MEPs?
That is not something that I can speculate on at this point in time. Whether there will be more, I can only reassure your viewers and our citizens that I will respond with the most correct and immediate manner possible.
Some political parties and some governments are already portraying the European Parliament as a corrupt institution, and they are saying that we don't take any lessons on rule of law and on corruption from the Parliament. What do you respond to this sort of criticism?
I think there will always be forces in Europe that will try to destroy the European Union, the European Parliament, which is a house of openness, transparency, loud voice in defense of democracy, human rights and rule of law. My answer to that is precisely the measures that I have been given the full mandate today by all political groups from left to right in the Parliament to work on.
President Roberta Metsola, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
Health authorities in Romania say they're seeing an increase in patients suffering both from flu and from COVID-19. They've even treated one patient who had symptoms of both, as well as a third respiratory infection. Health officials say it's difficult to have a clear picture of how widespread the problem is. Anyone who's been through the flu knows what that headache condition is. It puts you to bed. When we're talking about the flu, it's a summation of all these symptoms. And these symptoms get to high and very high intensity. You can't tell without testing. Across Europe, experts have been warning for weeks of a potentially overwhelming surge in COVID and similar viruses in the coming months, and some countries are already struggling. People are being urged to get booster vaccinations and wear masks in public.